So it has been some time since my Psychic Vampire Energy Technique video, and I've actually learned a lot. So in the original video, I covered Michelle Belanger's book, the Psychic Vampire Codex. So I've learned some things since then that I didn't get from the Codex. I've learned how love and hate can affect the energy that either you're trying to draw in or send out. When you truly love somebody, or you value them as a friend, they are a part of your life in a way that you wouldn't replace with someone else. There's an effect on the energy that you can give to them. There's an effect on your support that you can provide to them emotionally, financially, but also energetically. You can provide support that they never imagined could affect their emotions, also their energy level, or even their feeling of their spirit, their life force. For somebody who is very attuned, it's very easy to feel the frequency of the life force in you. I call it the spirit. But your love for another person can affect that to a very great degree, and it can also have the reverse effect if you hate. If you really hate someone, if somebody has really slighted you, if perhaps they are an enemy that you've had for quite a while, perhaps it's somebody that just bumped into you the wrong way and was kind of a dick about it, you have to ask yourself, why did this incur the reaction that I'm about to have? And, even if you don't care, or perhaps this is a longtime enemy, hate can really affect how you draw energy from others. If you're going to draw energy directly from others, hate is an amplifier. Unfortunately, it can lead to a lot of something that feels like a drug for you and a lot of energy deficit for the other person. Now, hate, it is the counter to love. It is the counter to the positive feeling and the support and the togetherness we feel with those near us, those close to our heart. Hate are those who we despise for reasons that become emotional turmoil, and then we become attached to that turmoil that we feel for the other person. So hate is a very powerful form of emotion to use when you're drawing energy out of somebody, because it's not always about your techniques. It's about what emotions you yourself are feeling while you're doing the various techniques. When it comes to maintaining sensory visualization, this can be an obstacle between you and energy transference. So when I say sensory visualization, I mean before you make it a reality, you have to visualize with your senses, not necessarily in your mind's eye, as you do usually with visualization, but you visualize with your feeling. It's more of you're focusing on a target that you want to put energy into or take energy from. You have to visualize exactly what is happening. Now, as far as pictures and light and things like that go, you have to find what works with you. But first and foremost, you have to realize that it's a feeling. It's not a, there's no light that you're going to see that's coming back or forth. And honestly, I used to use light. I used to picture light going from myself into somebody that I was trying to give energy, or even taking it. And maybe I'd attack their spine with dragons and take that energy. But I found now that sensory visualization is far more potent than visualization of the mind's eye, a visualization of something that we try to see. Sensory visualization is you're imagining the sensation of giving somebody energy or pulling it from them. Now, maintaining that long enough until there's an actual link is difficult for a lot of people. Usually when you're giving energy, it's an act of kindness, an act of love in a way, at least. Even if somebody's paying you for it, it's a kind act. So when you're transferring energy from yourself to someone else, sometimes you'll feel a warmth in your head, a warmth in your chest. There should be a little bit of a connection to your heart, because usually when you give energy to someone, you kind of want to use the sensory visualization that I was talking about, where you feel your heart opening up without picturing your heart in your mind's eye opening up, but you want to have sensory visualization to a T, to where you can focus it on an organ and your heart is the most effective place. And then you want to have that sensory visualization opening your heart. You want to really feel how that feels without using, like I said, the mind's eye. And then once you're focusing on that energy, once you're focusing on the lotus of your heart opening up, then it's much easier to make a link. Now, you can open up your heart after you make the link or before, but your heart should feel like it's opening. And it's actually not an ache. It feels more expanding. It feels more like your chest is blossoming when it's sensory visualization. So when you're giving energy to somebody, realize that there has to be some sensory link to a part of yourself. Sometimes it can just be your hands. You can hold on to somebody and focus energy into them. You can use regular visualization or sensory visualization. Sensory visualization is the best, but you can also use regular visualization in your mind's eye. But besides that, you can of course make contact through a hug, but you don't need actual physical contact. Somebody could be standing, on the other side of the room. You have to practice the feeling of linking a part of them to yourself or a part of yourself to them through sensory visualization, and then being able to focus your energy into that one spot where y'all link and sending it out. Now, this, if done right, it will make your limbs feel tingly. You'll start to be gathering energy from all over your body, and then you'll slowly feel it siphoning out into that person. But it will be a warmth. It won't be a drag. You might feel a little tired afterwards, but it won't be this terrible, painful feeling because, if it's an act of kindness, usually you might feel tired, but it won't be a pang in your heart. That actually comes with other practices, ones that I'm not going to get into, but in a second I will talk about how hate can help you take energy. Now, before I go into how to take energy and enhance it with hate, I want to let you know that this sets a precedent in your mind. That when somebody else wrongs you, and honestly, it will delineate into the smallest thing, when you don't like somebody, once you set the precedent that you are going to respond with taking their energy, that will make you return to the practice again and again and again. The thing is, when you put a lot of energy into this practice, it ends up becoming a major part of your practice. So that first precedent, let's say you just use it every now and then. Sure, that's okay. But a lot of the time, when you set that precedent in your mind, it's infused into your psyche. Like, I can respond, so I will. So you'll find that it's harder for you to let things go. It's harder for you to say, look, I don't have to invest a lot of energy in being mad at this person. Sure, they were a dick. Or, sure, they tried to embarrass me. Whatever, let me move on. That maintains your energy much better than putting your effort into drawing energy from them. Sure, it'll give you a high. It will give you a high for, it just depends on how you retain energy. It can give you a high for quite a while. But once you first do that, you're basically making a statement within your own psyche that, I can do this, I'm going to do this. And then you'll get to a point to where you are so on edge that you will respond with this technique to any slight. And you're always looking for a slight. It's like an addiction. It's like a psychological and energetic addiction. Because you start to, okay, I'm just going to use this technique every now and then. And then you start using it more and more because you're looking for those slights. You're like, I want to practice, and I'm actually getting a good feeling from this. It's not an addiction to the energy. It's an addiction to this resolution. So when this resolution happens within yourself, when you make it a thing within your own mind, then and you don't say, if you don't put a limit on it, then it'll keep on evolving and evolving and evolving until your energetic practice is completely taking other people's energy and not giving energy to others. And also, your cultivation of energy is going to be harder now. It's going to be much harder for your energy to naturally cultivate. You can say through food. You can say through being around people that generate a vibration of love that attunes with your specific vibration. It's going to be harder from those sources because you're creating this big channel this is the channel of take. And this is a big channel because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you use these practices of taking energy from others. So this is the warning before I tell you exactly how to take energy from others. So there is a reservoir of love or hate that everybody can fill up. It all has to do with thinking. So your thoughts are like a generator, producing power. You know, I don't like to go to duality, but producing power for, let's just use these two examples, love and hate. The more thoughts you have about generating, the more thoughts of hate or more thoughts of love that you have generates a certain amount of power. And then it goes into your storage systems. So the more hateful thoughts that you have, the easier it is to take and enhance the taking of energy from somebody else. Same with love and giving. So when you have a certain reservoir of hate, you're enhancing this technique. So unlike the giving of energy, you also want to keep a picture in your mind's eye, in your head, of the person. And even if you're in proximity to them, honestly, that's the best. If you can feel exactly where they're going, you have to kind of have senses that go around you into a wide circle. But being near them is the best, but you can also do this from very, very, very far away, on the other side of the earth. But you need a good picture of the person in your mind. Maybe it's somebody, let's say somebody really bumped into you and knocked you down and was like, hey, move it. You look up, you see that person, you got their picture in your head. So you observe what that person looks like. If it's an enemy, it's even better because likely you've seen this person from a variety of directions, which makes the image more easy to visualize within your mind's eye. So once you have that desire to use your hate to amplify the energy technique you're about to use, then you feel this warm feeling in your solar plex, just that warm feeling. Just allow that warm feeling to build and build, and allow it to just kind of guide you, and it kind of flow into your heart as well. And then instead of opening your heart, instead of using sensory visualization to open your heart, feel it hardening and shaking a bit. If you can use your sensory visualization to do that, it's very, very effective. And then while you have that person's image in your head, or if you're looking at them, even better, but while you have that image of the person in your head, just look at that person in your mind's eye and then just use your sensory visualization to draw that into your vibrating hard heart. Use that feeling and just pull like you're tugging a rope that has a lot of pressure, and it'll get easier and easier and easier. And then you're pulling it right into you. And then sometimes you'll feel it in your legs. When I've done this, I haven't done this a whole lot. When I've done this, I feel the energy in my legs, my thighs. That's where the energy comes in. Maybe because it's entering through my lower chakra, not sure, but I feel it in my legs. And just like, years back when I used to get into more fights, the fear would hit my legs as well, shaky. But when it comes to drawing in energy through this method, legs energized, firm. That's what it should feel like. It might go to your arms. It might go to different parts of yourself. It rarely goes to the head when you draw in energy like that, but you might feel it coming up. You never really know where the energy is going to hit unless you make that a part of the whole thing, which you can. It's just a little bit harder. So you'll kind of know where the energy is naturally drawn into your body, and then you can assume what kind of person or what kind of work you need to do in the future based on that. So you'll figure out where it goes in, and you'll know when to stop, because eventually the tension will go down, and then the rope keeps on getting lax, and then it'll go into that spot in your body once the rope is released. And then you'll feel that high. Once again, when you're taking energy from somebody, it is a high. You will feel it like you were at least a little bit high, and you'll feel it in your head for sure. It will affect your consciousness. You'll feel a little bit higher vibration. Depends on how long you can maintain this, is how long you'll feel this feeling. Now, as far as my skill level, I can't and wouldn't kill anybody with this. But I guarantee that when I hit somebody with this, for some reason, I've seen that that person almost wants to get out of where I am immediately. And, you know, let's just say it's like a park. They want to get away from that park. They don't know why. Or if I want them to know that I did this, I will put that intention in my mind and direct that while I'm pulling the energy. And basically picture that picture next to my face and send those two images towards that person. You're doing a lot of things at once. You're going to have to practice this. But I will send my image to somebody through my mind's eye as I am picturing theirs and taking energy from them. So recently, one example is that, you know, this guy kept on trying to stare me down. He didn't like me for some reason. And I just looked him in the eye and I used this technique, and then I used it even further. And now this guy does not come anywhere near where he used to come. I'm not going to give any details, but he does not go anywhere near. And he used to go there. He used to go to that spot every day, man. Now, as far as you know, the end result of this, you can keep on drawing people's energy, as I said, and then you have the deficiency where this is your main way and the other ways are harder. Just know that it does have a negative effect on your heart, and your heart can start to hurt over time. So there it is. Be careful if you're going to do this, and I do not recommend that you do this for a second, but here's the knowledge. Now, I'm giving you the knowledge about how to do both. And I've given you some specific knowledge about the taking energy because the giving energy is actually much simpler. It's easier because there's something in us that wants to connect to other people. And there's something in us that wants to block our destruction of other people. Believe it or not, I know this might seem like a shock. Seems like humanity is just so filled with people that just hate each other and want to kill each other. On an energetic level, most of those people are just afraid. Fear breeds hate. Now, the hate that is pure hate is much darker, but fear breeds a lot of hate. People who are unaware of energy, their energetic status, other people's energy, they're living in the dark. So that's why it's much easier for us to make links, and that's what we should use. But if you're going to do this, just be warned. And how you use these techniques really shows what kind of person you are. Here are the tools. How will you use them? And I believe that sharing knowledge like this, I believe that once everything is added up, all the bad actions that people use this knowledge for, all the good actions, I actually believe that'll add up into a gain for humanity, a gain of compassion. This is my own experiment. I'm a gray magician. I'm in between. So I'm constantly observing everything around me, but I'm right at the center. This is why I share the information. I hope that you take my warnings to heart and remember these techniques and consider whether you should use them. Thank you very much.